This is the day that the Lord hath made. And we're here today to celebrate, to rejoice. And some would say, what, after 40 years, what do we have to celebrate? What do we have to rejoice? I want to thank God first. All of us got on our knees and prayed this morning. An hour ago, we presented the petition to the governor, Governor Perdue. And we hope that the governor and all of her legal advisors, political advisors, will give her the right advice. And that is to grant all of the members of the Wilmington 10 a pardon of innocence. That's 40 years overdue. I want to thank the National Newspaper Publishers Association, America's Black Press. Mr. President, thank you. Board members, thank you. Morales, all of you, for putting forth this effort to reawaken our people. And when I say our people, I'm not just talking about black people. The case of the Wilmington 10 is about justice for all people. 41 years ago, we were fighting for school desegregation in Wilmington, North Carolina. We were fighting for equal, high-quality education for all of God's children. It was wrong 40 years ago, and it's wrong today to deny any child a quality education. That's what the fight was about. And that's what the fight continues to be about. Equal education for every child of God, without racial discrimination, without hardship because of skin color or because of history. Wilmington is not just the port city of North Carolina. Wilmington represents North Carolina. I don't want you to think that what happened in Wilmington was an isolated incident. The reason why this is going on for 40 years is because what would happen in Wilmington is symptomatic of our native state. I'm glad to be back home. It's always good to come home. And I'm glad to be back home today to be with my co-defendants. I'm proud of the members of the Wilmington 10. 40 years ago, these were young brothers. Ann Shepard was a young woman. Some of them were 16, 17, 18 years old. 40 years ago. 40 years ago, I was 24 years old. 40 years ago, we stood up for that which was right in the presence of God and in the presence of our community. Today, we stand up again for what is right in the presence of God and in the presence of our community. I want to thank Professor Irv Joyner. I want to thank Attorney James Ferguson. One of the things about the Wilmington 10 case that often gets ignored is that we had some of the best attorneys in the world. But 40 years ago, even having the best attorneys, even having the truth on your side, a few blocks from here is Central Prison. A few blocks from here is Polk Youth Center. All of us spent time in the prison. A few blocks from here. We were sentenced to 282 years in prison for fighting for the rights of black school children to have an equal quality education with white school children. That's what the issue was 40 years ago. We hope, and I agree with Professor John and Attorney Ferguson, and with the NMPA, that Governor Perdue will do the right thing. I know that this is an election year. And I know that there's a lot that polarizes North Carolina. But we want the governor to rise above the political polarization. Governor Perdue is a good woman. She's a good governor. Now we want her to do a good deed for the Wilmington 10 and for all of North Carolina. I'm not going to preach, although I'm tempted. Time would not permit for me to chronicle all of the pain, the hardship, the struggle, the sacrifice that the Wilmington 10 have been through. I'm so glad to see Ms. Jacobs here. The mothers of the Wilmington 10, many of whom are passed on, including my own, would love this day. My mama would love to see this day. She went to her grave begging Rufus Evans to give justice for the Wilmington 10. And so we're here today not to ask for mercy, we're asking for justice. Not only for ourselves, because justice for the Wilmington 10 is justice for all of the people in North Carolina. All of the people. And so we're very grateful. And I know my colleagues, my comrades are going to speak in their own view. So I'm going to be brief out of respect to them. The last point. I am optimistic. I am not bitter. I'm somewhat disappointed, but not bitter.
All right.
Jay Stroud, the prosecutor, who framed us up,
That's right.
who set us up, who paid the witnesses to lie against us. I want to say publicly, I pray for Jay Stroud. Somebody told me he's not in good health. I pray for his health.
That's right.
This is not a time to state one wrong for another wrong. All the members of the Wilmington 10 for the last 40 years, we've never said one negative thing about North Carolina. We protested racism. And racism is all over the world. We need to continue to protest racial injustice. And so I'm hoping that Governor Perdue will listen to her own conscience. Also her legal advisors, of course. But at the end of the day, the governor has to take out her own pen.
All right.
With the stroke of her pen, she can issue a pardon of innocence to all the members of the Wilmington 10. That's why we're here. This is our prayer, and this is our petition. Thank you.
My name is Willie Moore. I'm here representing my brother Wayne Moore, one of the members of the Wilmington 10. I do believe if Wayne was here today, he would say there's a season for every reason. I believe he would say that now is the time. This is the season for something to be done about this injustice. I believe he would tell you that it's still a fight. There's always going to be a fight, and he's going to be willing to fight until he'll see justice done. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm not much for words, but this has rested heavy on my spirit for a long time. And I said quite a while ago that if my people who are called by my name would seek my face and change their wicked ways, then I would heal them and their land. God knows, I pray to God that this is the beginning of that healing. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank God for everyone being here today. And as I said before, and I will always say, the Wilmington 10 case should not have happened. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know exactly what happened in the Wilmington 10. I, along with James McCoy, wasn't even in town during the time that Mike's grocery was burned. So we was charged, tried, and convicted for crimes that we did not commit. It was a conspiracy against our lives. Total injustice. And I would like to say to Governor Perdue that she do the right thing.
That's right. That's right.
And I want to repeat what she said. This is not Mississippi.
All right.
It should be, but it's not. And why they put us in prison like that? It was to show the rest of the black people, if you march, if you stand up for freedom, justice, and equality, this is what will happen to you. And right now, today, it's multitudes of black people that are still afraid to speak up for themselves. But I'm one that is not afraid. And I hate to say it, but they're the ones that taught me how to do this. I would like to thank you again for coming. Thank God that we're here and everybody's in good health, and we stay in good health. And keep your spirits up, and let us all pray for each other. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Glad to see each one of y'all here. But look, I'm not good at words and speaking to other people, but I want to tell you like this here. I'm still bothered about why it take 40 years, you know, to come up to realize that we was looking for this pardon or something like that for a long time. And at this 40 years, it's like it's gonna be a continue or what? So what I'm asking is this pardon gonna be the closing of the book, or it's gonna continue? I don't want it to continue. I want it to end with a pardon.
All right. That's right.
And if we don't have some positive results of everything. So like I said, I'm not good with words. What I want to say, I don't want to say it because I cuss real good. So, you know. Thank you, just saying.
Talk about you.
I'm afraid I might get emotional, which is why I didn't originally want to speak, because I think it's even harder with my mother passing away right before this. But we grew up admiring the members of the Wilmington 10. Willie was only 5-6 years older than we were. And to me, these have been my war heroes. They've been in a battle for 40 years. And like with any war or any battle, they have scars. Ben almost died in prison of appendicitis because they didn't want to move him to a real hospital. Mothers had to watch their children being handcuffed and led away and loaded in a prison van, and we were so fearful for their lives because of the cover-up that there was a convoy following them back to Central Prison to make sure that no harm would come to them along the way. So for anybody to even begin to understand what they went through, I know they can sympathize. All I can tell you is thank you, because all they did was stand up for what was right. And they were tried to be made an example of, just like in 1898, when people band together and stand up and speak for what is right. They tried to show us this is what happens. But I think maybe finally we'll get it handled. We'll let them know there's strength in numbers.